Hello and welcome to episode 342 of the Player One podcast for Monday, May 20th, 2013. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and there's no Phil today because he is sick.
Diarrhea. Cha-cha-cha.
Diarrhea, constant vomiting, I don't know. Something. Yep. He said that he was under the weather in his email about 3 minutes before we started recording.
And is that why your introduction there sounded more like Masterpiece Theater than normal?
Yes, because I have to extend. With no Phil, how are we going to get to our 90-minute runtime?
And not the soul was unmoved.
Oh, and joining me from Canada is a guy who has run out of HDMI ports, but is going to keep his PS3 hooked up anyway, just to play GT6. Greg Seward.
It's me. Thank you, Sony, for forcing me to keep my PS3 hooked up for another couple years.
And not just that. Are you actually, on Twitter, it seems like you're investigating new race gear?
Oh, I got one. I got me a rig, baby.
Really? Like a seat and everything? Like a true nerd?
It's a fold-up one, though.
Oh, wow. Is it like a lawn chair?
Yeah.
I got me a folding racing chair, just like Jeff Gordon.
My wife won't let me get one that has to stay in the living room. I needed to get one that I can fit in.
What if you stitch the words "lazy boy" into the back of it? Just try to deceive her.
It's a thought. Yep,
you should do that.
I got
what's the rig? What's the setup?
It's called the Playseat Challenge. It's something that they just brought out recently. It is just basically. I'm only half kidding when I say it's a lawn chair. It's very much like a lawn chair.
It's a branded lawn chair.
Yeah, pretty much. But
does it have racing stripes on it?
Various pipes and hinges and things that allow you to mount the steering wheel and pedals to it. So
cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So, but you're sticking with your same pedals and steering wheel. It's just a chair to mount them all onto.
Yes, I use Fanatic Club Sport pedals, and they didn't quite want to fit on the rig properly. But I did some surgery to them this morning, and I think everything's going to be fine. Just in case anyone was worried, everything's going to be fine.
You may be too obsessed with your pedals. You may have become a pedophile. That's all I'm saying.
Good. I like that.
Very nice. And
I gotta take Phil's place. Come on.
No, because that was actually funny.
Oh.
So work harder.
Wow.
I'll try not as hard.
Wait. Here. Try May the 20th be with you.
Oh my God.
Good one.
See, there you go. That's the reaction you want from a Phil joke.
And phoning it in from the great state of Utah, a man who will be constantly refreshing Major Nelson's blog page this Tuesday for Xbox News, Mr. Mike Phillips.
Hello. I don't know if you know this, but they have already become completely insufferable at pumping their chests out. And I'm sure nobody listens to Major Nelson's podcast, but I do obsessively every week. And they had...
How do you listen to that?
It's infuriating, man.
I listened to it before the 360 came out because he was like one of the only sources talking about the controller and the system is whisper quiet. I finally got a manufactured unit in my cube.
Whisper quiet.
And that stuff was compelling to listen to at the time when you didn't have the system in your
All you
house.
had was him and Gaming Steve. That was it.
All you had was him and Gaming Steve.
And thus Player One podcast was born.
So this week they had he invited Aaron Greenberg onto the show, who I don't know if you have ever listened to that guy. But anyway, it was like 90 minutes of just furiously masturbating over their successes over the last 8 years.
What about the tent?
Yeah.
The pictures of the damn tent.
They're definitely pitching a tent, I can tell you that.
Have somehow gotten popular for journalists to re-blog. Yeah, pictures of a tent with the hashtag Xbox reveal.
Yeah. It's I'm excited. I'm excited not about the actual event or the announcement or the console itself. I'm excited about the reaction from the internet to whatever it is.
It'll be an interesting one.
Good or bad. I mean, it will either be incredibly vitriolic and hateful, which of course I will love, or it will be like the biggest case of collective amnesia in recorded history, where they could literally get up there and show the Kinect scanning a skateboard and just see if people get excited about it this time, forgetting that none of that shit worked.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, the actual announcement itself is only an hour long because they're broadcasting it on Spike TV. Yeah. So we know pretty much we're going to get an hour's worth of, I guess Aaron Greenberg even just said they're not really going to show games.
Yeah,
it's going to be focused around
the
system itself. I know. They're not going to show any games. At least you have to show something,
which is funny,
some game that uses the features of the system, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to show something.
After Sony revealed the PS4, Major Nelson's snarky tweet was, "Not showing the console at your console announcement." I guess that's one way of doing it.
Not showing any games for your console or your console. Yeah.
God.
But
we'll see. Maybe they will.
Interesting. But I rewatched the Xbox 360 announcement from 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, wherever we are.
Sleep, huh?
At this point, yeah. Just to hype myself.
TJ's watched it once a week since this one came out.
So it was a half-hour long thing on MTV, and it is one of the weirdest reveals ever.
It was very strange.
Because you have, a girl walk out with the system in a knapsack and place it on a pedestal, and then you have a very short montage of game footage, and then
it
wasn't just a girl. It was Velocity Girl.
If Twitter had been around then, you wouldn't have you'd have hashtag knapsack. What's in the knapsack?
What's in the knapsack? Yeah.
What kills me is that you can tell it's going to be a Spike TV thing because on game trailers, like every day for the past 2 weeks, they've had these various Jeff Keighley features like Xbox memories and best moments of Xbox press conferences and 5 things I want in the Xbox 720, and it's just keeps going on and on and on, and it's like, I mean, it kind of makes sense in a way, but then you're sitting there wondering, did they do the same thing for the PS4 release? I don't think so.
No,
yeah,
Jeff Keighley is definitely polishing up his Doritos cod piece.
Well, I guess game trailers didn't, but Sony did that kind of
I'm
thing,
talking about,
right?
Okay, but
you're talking about game trailers.
Is not Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right. But game trailers, aren't they affiliated with Spike in some way?
That's my point. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Jeff Keighley does Game Trailers TV on Spike every week.
Yeah.
So.
All right then. Get hyped for Tuesday. We're gonna do a special broadcast on Tuesday night. So anyone listening to this on Monday or Tuesday, you can probably listen in to that, and I'll have details up on that on the P1 Podcast Twitter account. So
casting
check that.
Some broads on Tuesday night.
That should be awesome.
Casting some broads. We're going to have some special guests join us as well. Mike, you're not going to be able to join, which
no,
we'll have to wait for your
like many adults
reaction later
in the world. I have shit to do on weeknights. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Mike's just going to live tweet the whole thing. Not showing games on your system launch. I guess that's one way.
Oh, God.
That's right. That's right. All right. So at the top of the show here, I guess we're 15 minutes in, so it's not really the top. I wanted to say thank you to some of the donations we got this week. We got some donations.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Successful Kickstarter.
That's right. So I'm going to thank Dalton D., Ben G., and Jared T., also known as Jared Thorban, who, by the way, donated $1.
Good
and
enough.
after PayPal fees, that's
$1.
It's about 45 cents, so that's going to make a big
Still
dent.
money. Thank you.
Still money, but thank you to you three very much. And if you want to donate, you can go to playeronepodcast.com, click the donate button there on the right, and do whatever you want to. I did a breakdown of the costs involved in Player One Podcast.
For the first time ever, true podcast transparency.
That's right, transparency.
That's what we bring to the game.
Yep.
So yeah, it costs about $713 a year to do this podcast.
I think you said 718, which is it, Johnston?
Put cents in there. It costs about $713.55 a year.
$0.55. Yeah. to do the podcast. And, we get a fair amount of donations, which I'm super happy about. That helps. And then we get some ad revenue from the Amazon ads that are on player1podcast.com, and that pretty much takes care of it.
The next donation is for $10,000 from Penny A.
I'm not good at math, but so they have currently $140,000 on that Kickstarter, so they'll be able to do a year, right? I mean, that works out.
I think at least they could do a year.
Okay,
that's right. Yeah,
good for them.
So,
always like to see some other startup get off the ground.
Yeah,
that's right.
Good guys.
It wouldn't have happened if they didn't do that successful Kickstarter, right?
That's right.
That's a good point.
Yep.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Nintendo now. Let's talk.
You're the only one.
Yes.
They need someone. They need a friend.
Someone needs to talk about them.
No, because this week I think was an especially bad week for Nintendo, and because you have the story on Kotaku that they talked to an EA representative who confirmed that EA has no Wii U games in development, none. And this comes on the heels, of course, of Madden 25 not coming out on Wii U, and there was a story, I think, around the same time that FIFA not coming out on Wii U also. So that was bad. And then, to follow that up, we had an EA Sports engineering director say on Twitter that the Wii U is crap. It's less powerful than the 360. There's no money in third parties, so Nintendo are walking dead at this point. Of course, those tweets have now been deleted.
So it's like they never happened.
So it's as if they never happened.
They got the tweets got orthed, as we say now.
They
got totally orthed.
I don't think Adam Worth deleted those tweets.
No, he was self-deleted.
Except he made his account private.
Yeah.
Luckily, he's following me, so I can still read them.
Oh, God. So we can have a weekly Orth update from UCK?
I follow him, and he follows me, so we're all
Perfect.
Good. Yeah. And then the MPD numbers came out for April, and they were bad for everybody, but I'm assuming Nintendo did not do too well in the Wii U department. Then we had an underwhelming virtual console launch on the Wii U, which a lot of gaming journalists are up in arms about. And on Friday, there was an underwhelming, to say the least, Nintendo Direct, where they didn't really say anything new for Wii U. They announced some dates for software, but that's about it.
And those dates pretty much prove that there's no reason to care about the Wii U for the next month or so?
Yeah, pretty much. So after that string of bad news, you hear people on Twitter, journalists and other folks, coming out with the same couple of things that Nintendo should do to turn things around, right?
Release some games.
So, release some games is certainly, I think, the best of these. But so, what about Nintendo should go third party? What do you think of that?
Boy, going third party right now would be such a great way to reward the people who spent money on a Wii U.
Oh yeah. Well, didn't it take Sega like a dark period after they shut down Dreamcast stuff before their first titles came out on multiple platforms? Am I thinking about 3DO?
No, they launched what is it? They licensed some stuff out to Acclaim. Acclaim released some of their games on the PS2.
Right.
Either during the Dreamcast life or pretty quickly after it died, but Sega announced they were going third party at the same time they announced they were killing the Dreamcast. So
okay, yeah, and then did they announce their first games for multiple?
I don't remember.
At that time? I don't remember either.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know if it wasn't until like the Xbox launch before they started releasing games on the other systems. Because Gun Valkyrie was like a launch game for the Xbox, was it not?
I don't think so.
Okay then.
I'm not positive.
I don't think the situation is exactly the same, though. I mean,
No.
The situation is comparatively dire, but the pie is so much bigger now that I think they can subsist with, a smaller percentage of it because it's so much more money. Plus, I think that their handhelds are going to be just fine and be able to more or less buoy them through whatever kind of shitty period they have with their
Certainly.
big boy console.
Certainly. But there was a point brought up on a recent 8-4 play, I think, where Chris Kohler was guesting. And, this is a good point, that Nintendo makes hardware that is designed around the concepts of whatever game they're working on. That's part of what makes their own games unique.
Especially ever since the N64.
Especially since the N64. If they released a game on the Xbox 360, like a Mario platformer, it's just another character platformer on the Xbox 360, right? It's not gonna utilize whatever innovation they are excited about, or that has driven their game design.
I don't know about that.
You don't? No.
How could you not releasing?
You don't think it would be so? If Mario Galaxy comes out on 360, it's just another character platformer.
Because the 360 has so many character platformers, or
yeah.
No, I don't.
Let me ask you this: do you think they'd sell as many copies of a Mario or a Zelda on 360 as they do on their own hardware? Like,
I don't know.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Nintendo, and I think they'd sell like crazy. But I don't know. But I agree with the idea that Nintendo has kind of catered their hardware design to their game design.
Games, right?
I mean, like the N64 controller was a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I don't think that's a reason why their games wouldn't do well or wouldn't exist on another platform. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at something like New Super Mario Bros. U.
Mm-hmm.
That game can be on any platform, anywhere. Really. I mean, I know you have that
you wouldn't have the
multiplayer
gamepad
thing.
You wouldn't have the gamepad placing platforms.
Yeah, okay, so you lose that. But honestly, how many people play that way?
Right, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Plus, there are plenty of third parties who are very adept at taking advantage of unique platform capabilities. For example, Capcom did brilliantly with Steel Battalion for Kinect. I mean, there's a long story history of those.
Sure. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be beholden to a platform holder's crappy peripheral technology, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, but I think it's flawed logic, because that's just it. Like, they'd still make good games based on whatever hardware they were releasing them on.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Right, but that's not what Nintendo is as a company. Right?
I don't know, but I can't think of a ton of great Nintendo games that hinge on some gimmick.
Except for Wii Sports.
Okay.
All right. So the other thing that's trotted out often is Nintendo should drop the price of the Wii U right now. All right. And to me, there's a couple problems with that. First of all, they could drop the price. It doesn't solve the
so
game
it doesn't
problem.
sell at a lower price.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So there's nothing to sell the hardware at.
There's nothing to play, but now it's cheaper. It'll cost you $100 less to not play our new system.
That's right. I mean, any time that a hardware manufacturer drops the price is usually a temporary bump, right? And then it goes right back to whatever it was doing.
Yeah.
Might work for a month or two. And the other thing is that Iwata said before the release of the Wii U that they're already losing money on the hardware this time out.
Yeah, that's my assumption is that they sell it at the price they need in order to make money. So dropping the price doesn't necessarily sound like a great fix either.
When the 3DS came out, they did not price that one correctly, and they fixed that a few months later. But in the Wii U's case, they have already fixed it. Like, they're already at the low price.
Yeah,
they can do. All right, so the Virtual Console launch on the Wii U. The other thing I saw a lot of folks tweeting is that Nintendo should release all Virtual Console games now. Like, everything that came out on the Wii should be available on the Wii U.
I agree with that. I don't think it's gonna help the Wii U sell.
No,
exactly. I agree with that, but they should definitely do. Their releases seem not particularly thoughtful. You know, like there are weeks when they release a couple shitty games and that's it. Like, you need at least one good game in the batch.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've only
every
had
time you do one.
3 or 4 weeks now of Virtual Console, right?
Yeah.
Officially. They did the 30-cent promotional stuff since February, but we're really only in our first 3 weeks. And we got Super Mario World the first week. Then
That's a
the
good
second
one.
week was like Xevious and Solomon's Key.
And that's a bad one.
But now the week after that, we got Super Mario Brothers 2, which is great, and Super Metroid, also awesome.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's doing a deal. If you bought Super Mario World, you can get Super Mario Brothers 2 for half off, which is awesome for folks who didn't already have those.
All
Of course,
five
if
of
you
them.
did already have those on Wii, you get the upgrade price of $1 and $1.50. There's no discount.
Yeah. No, it's just like, I don't know. The thing is that before, when it was stuff that hadn't already been released to it, like the Virtual Console service even, it was kind of like a weekly event.
Yeah.
Now here we are treading over the same ground we were treading like 5 years ago.
It's trying to make
Sure.
news every week out of something that is already sort of old news. So in that sense, releasing all of them sort of, I mean, it makes more sense, but then they don't have their weekly news.
Then they
feed
don't
of
have
various-
anything.
Yeah,
Right.
they're the
But
two-
if they dumped everything all out all at once, they could potentially just not have anything on the schedule for a long time. Plus, I mean, to
it's just the problem
dole it
with-
out on a weekly basis keeps people coming back to the eShop, right?
Well, it
not
used
me,
to.
not anymore.
Yeah, it used to, and
It keeps me
like
going back to the eShop.
well, you were a very special case.
Yeah.
It's that like that joke is over now, and they need to find something else.
All right. So the other thing I want to talk about that a lot of folks were tweeting is that Nintendo should just do a Netflix-like service for old games, and have everything on there at once, and you pay a monthly fee.
That could be cool.
You mean Sega Channel?
Or on
Exactly.
live.
Or on live?
Yeah.
The one thing I would like to mention when talking about this is let's take a look at Microsoft Game Room concept, right? And it wasn't necessarily exactly a Netflix for old games, but it was a hub where you could play old stuff, right?
Yeah, you had to buy them each individually, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the NES library, or if they do old console stuff, it's a finite library, right? It's not like Netflix where they have new releases to get you in.
True, but it's still the NES library. I think that's one of the things that
Right.
you would actually that the game room comparison doesn't totally fit, because you're talking about the NES library and the Super Nintendo library, and I totally think you could do something like that sort of service, and it wouldn't have to be streaming necessarily, because the ROMs are so small
Right.
that just be sort of a download and then play, and then when you turn it off, it's deleted from memory basically.
Right.
And then maybe if you just have save files locally on your system, I think that would work.
So would you pay $10 a month for that?
$10 a month?
How long
No,
would you
$10
pay
a month is
$10 a month?
insane.
That's a little much.
Like,
$10
let's
a
say
month.
you had unlimited, you could play as many retro games as you wanted for $10 a month. Which somebody on Twitter told me they'd pay $15 a month, which I
People
thought
on
was
Twitter
just
are nuts.
absolutely
Wow.
insane. $15 a month. I mean, the games that I bought on Virtual Console, I pretty much bought all the games that I care about from Nintendo back when VC was on the Wii, and it wasn't really that many games.
That's exactly it, though. That's the problem.
Exactly.
If it was,
And
what? If it was
I
rolled
wouldn't
into
want to
part of-
pay. I wouldn't want to pay even $5 a month for access to just those games that I care about, because I'd be overpaying within a year.
If it was rolled into a product like, say, PS Plus,
Yeah.
if it was a feature of a greater product, then I'd happily, well, depending on what the other things that were offered were, like, I would happily pay that. I happily pay it on the PS3 now, right? If there were certain features that they put behind a paywall, and that was one of them, definitely. $10 a month is kind of steep just for
$10
Virtual
a month.
Console games.
Yeah.
For retro games, I mean,
But I would
It's-
like,
it's-
I wouldn't mind it being part of some sort of pay service, because I agree with you. Like, there are certain games that I'm interested in, and that's it for
Right.
sure. But there's a lot of games that I never played as well that I would like to
that
try.
you wouldn't
but I'm not-
necessarily purchase, but you might
but I'm not
play.
buying them to try them.
Right? No,
that's
right.
nuts.
Yeah.
I know some people do that, but no.
Virtual Console is mostly a nostalgia play, right?
For sure.
For us who already played those games the first time out.
But then also when you consider things like, and I don't know what happened to all these deals, but on the Wii where they had deals with Sega, and they had Neo Geo games on there, they held old a very few Commodore 64 games on there, TurboGrafx.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could be a pretty robust service, really,
Yeah.
if you had those deals in place again. That's a ton of huge libraries. I mean, three of those systems right there had over 1,000 games each.
Right. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's not going to save the Wii U.
No, not at all.
Introducing a service like that, which I think a lot of folks are tweeting these things thinking that it would save the Wii U.
Well, that was like when the Earthbound announcement was made. It's like, that's nice, but that's not going to save the Wii U.
Also not going to save the Wii U. No.
No.
So the other thing I saw on Twitter was one guy said Nintendo should just cut its losses and put out a real next generation system.
Yes, another brilliant idea.
Like, all right, we're 6 months in to the Wii U. 6 months. And it's not selling. All right, just cut your losses and release a more expensive...
We'll make another one next week.
Yeah.
Get Charles down to the lab to crank another one out this week for us.
Because third parties are definitely going to make games for it if it were more next gen, right? Like,
again, that philosophy works so well for Sega. Let's just do it all over again.
Sure, exactly.
That wouldn't smell of desperation either, would it?
No,
that'd be okay.
No, I mean,
I think that's right.
All going to Kikaku.
Let's just if Sony were to announce like a next generation Vita that could do things that the current Vita that we all have can't do, how excited about that would we be?
I would buy it, but no, I would not be excited.
But exactly, no, you would not be excited about it. So
I would just buy it.
The Wii U, it's like, let's just, piss off the people who did buy it and cater to the folks that didn't buy it but might buy it under this, I don't know.
That particular morsel of insanity might not even be worth entertaining as an actual thought.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about all of these is like, you look at back when the original Wii was out, people were like, oh, Nintendo should make an HD system. I'd buy that immediately. Or Nintendo needs games like Mass Effect, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed, or Batman Arkham City, and I'd buy that. That's sure to sell. And Nintendo releases the Wii U, and it's HD, and it has Mass Effect, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed, Batman Arkham City, and nobody gave a shit. So I look at a lot of these arguments like Nintendo should do this, Nintendo should do that, and granted, Nintendo does have to do something, right? But in the case of the 3DS, they let the games do the talking for them later. Yeah. I mean, it took a while because game development isn't something you can just switch on and it's you immediately release a half dozen games. It doesn't work that way, but it does build over time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, which means
3 and all of these games are taking longer than they thought. Right. I don't see how Microsoft and Sony are going to be in any better a spot 6 months after the release of those consoles.
Well, it all comes down to planning too.
It does. It comes down to that planning. Yeah.
The third-party support thing is big, and don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's being kind of blown out of proportion. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it is important when you hear things like EA is not supporting the system, and you got to assume that there are a lot of other companies that aren't as well.
Right.
I mean, that's not good because you don't build that critical mass. Now, Nintendo's kind of proven over the past couple generations that they're the console manufacturer that can get away with not having tons of third-party support.
Yeah.
But the thing is, still, even though people say I bought this for the Nintendo games, those releases are so infrequent that you sort of need some fence posts in between there to.
At least right now.
That's what I was just about to say. That's what I was just about to say because of that, if you're basically the sole company supporting your system, if you don't have the number of teams and the resources to release them at a pretty decent rate, it doesn't really matter how good they are. It becomes a disappointment, and here we are. I mean, how many people were even playing the Wii U before Lego City came out? And Lego City wasn't a huge release, but now it's going to be another couple months before anything else comes out. That's a really big name.
Yeah, if you're talking about big names, there's nothing until Pikmin 3 in August.
Yeah, that's no good.
Between now and then, we have Resident Evil Revelations, which is coming out on the other systems anyway, so big deal. And New Super Luigi Brothers U, which looks awesome. But again, that's a digital title, and who cares? Exactly. And Game & Wario. You have Game & Wario, which minigame collection, who cares? Like what they don't have is they don't have the big Nintendo names at this point to sell the system. And maybe they will this fall. You know, they have Pikmin, they're going to have Wind Waker HD, they're going to have
Pikmin really a big I mean, to me that feels smaller than Lego just because the Lego brand is much bigger than I just don't think Pikmin is I mean, it's a big deal to people who have played the games because they're really good games, but it's not.
Well, also when you think of games that are system-selling Nintendo titles, you don't think Pikmin. That's like way far down on the list.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like the next Nintendo Direct that we get will be talking about Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and the next 3D Mario game on the Wii U. So, I mean, that will hopefully...
Oh my God. We're going to be talking about Smash Brothers and Mario Kart.
I have to say,
I know.
We've had discussions before where people have asked, like, with the new Super Mario Brothers thing and how they keep releasing all these different versions of new Super Mario Brothers, if that's kind of diminished the brand. And I originally had said no, but the more I think about it, the more I think, I think the fact that they've released so many, just as an example, so many new Super Mario Brothers games, it made new Super Mario Brothers U a non-event.
But those games, when you look at the sales numbers on New Super Mario Brothers, those games, that series, those are top-selling.
I agree, but they're not. They don't have the power to drive people to the system like Mario used to.
I think you're right for people like you and me. I think you're absolutely right. But I think if you're talking about parents who, are looking for something for their kids,
who just bought New Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS for their kid, and now they have to go out and buy a new console because New Super Mario Brothers U was out 6 months later.
Sure, I mean it happens with the Pokemon series, right? Yeah. I mean we'll see what happens this fall.
How many times do they release a Pokemon game every year?
Once a year, but they don't.
That's not as frequent as New Super Mario Brothers at this point.
That's more frequent than New Super Mario Brothers, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Weren't there 2 of those last year?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, one on 3DS and one on Wii U.
Yeah.
But there haven't been two. There haven't been 2 on a console platform.
Stop changing the rules, Johnston.
Damn it!
My point being, and I'm also talking. I am talking about a hardcore game from a hardcore gamer standpoint, which is kind of the direction that they wanted to take the Wii U anyway, because they knew they weren't going to do that mass market thing as much anymore.
What do you mean? What do you mean they weren't going to do that mass market thing anymore?
They said that the focus on the Wii U was to bring the core gamer back into the Nintendo fold.
Right, because that's what everybody was pissed off about with the Wii.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is if that's your goal, but then you release New Super Mario Brothers U after there was just a New Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS, and just before that was Super Mario Land 3D on the 3DS.
Well, a year earlier, yeah.
It wasn't a year earlier.
It was November, yes.
Anyway, the point being is that you look back at something like, say, Mario 3D.
Yeah.
Or, sorry,
Mario Galaxy.
No, Mario 64 is what I'm getting at, actually.
Oh.
Right? First Mario game in how many years? First real Mario game in how many years at that point?
I don't know. When did Yoshi's Island come out?
Do you count Yoshi's Island in that regard?
Yeah.
You do, but
I do.
We'll say
Super Mario World 2.
You see my point, though, right?
Let's say X number of years.
Yeah, like the thing is that it used to be years between Mario games. Now it's months. Sure. And I think that it has actually diminished it. And I think that in the case of the Wii U, where they said they were trying to bring the core gamer back into the fold, it has hurt it a little bit.
Well, then again,
just as an example,
people were like, Nintendo can't launch hardware without a Mario game. So...
No, I get it. But the thing is that it's not the same as it used to be, because they can't launch a system without a Mario game, yes. But when it's the latest Mario game in the last few months, it's not as important as the first Mario game for the last couple of years. It's not as big a draw. People aren't going to rush out to play it when they just had that experience on the handheld 6 months ago.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
They were trying to turn around screwed up with the Wii U.
They were trying to turn around the 3DS, right? So they did anything that they could.
I'm not
3D Land and Mario Kart 7 and New Super Mario Brothers 2. Because
you don't need to justify why they released those games on the 3DS. It makes perfect sense to release them on the 3DS. What I'm saying is it's become oversaturated.
Okay.
That's all. Stop sticking up for Nintendo, CJ.
So when they release Wind Waker HD, a new 3D Mario game, and Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, did I say Mario Kart? All in like a 4-month span. If they're desperate and they cut the production schedules of those games, like, is it going to be the same situation? Or are you going to say we just had those games? And
I am going to say that, yes. I can't vouch for Greg.
I stopped listening to you.
I won't be saying that.
But
thank you.
I can say that this is probably more than I've thought about Nintendo in ever.
This podcast segment?
Yeah.
This little bit? Okay.
Definitely.
I thought we should get some Nintendo talk in before Microsoft's reveal and E3, when we may not be talking as much about them, but we'll see.
We'll be talking about them live from Best Buy.
Live from Best Buy. Yeah, what do you think about that little announcement?
That's
from the Nintendo Direct.
That's
weird
actually
and
cool.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way of doing it, yeah. I think the goal there is to get, existing Wii U fans in the store, but then to also create a buzz type situation where
isn't
if you're doing that on a weekend and you have people who don't know what the Wii U is and there are a bunch of people playing new demos at Best Buy, maybe
it's a limited
you'll get
number of stores,
sales.
Though,
It's
right?
100 stores, right?
Okay.
It is
So
a limited number of stores.
Yeah, that's not very many. I don't know how
and
many people
honestly, they could have been doing this in-store demo stuff for months, right?
Yeah, like maybe leading up to the console's release, have some demos.
Yeah, exactly. And they have
that are actually out now.
What, you mean Rayman kiosks? Idea?
They have in-store kiosks with the Rayman demo. That was the only playable demo. Like, how stupid was that?
To be fair, that's the thing that got me closest to buying a system was playing that Rayman demo. Now, the fact that the game is not out and has since been announced for other consoles has put a damper on those plans. But
which also goes in line with what we're saying about third parties losing faith in the console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
It's a sad situation.
Tis.
Sad situation. All right.
They'll be all right in the long run.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Oh, sure. And we'll all go out and buy Mario Kart on the Wii U. And
yeah,
of course, it'll be awesome. And
I won't do that.
The rest of us will.
They'll announce Animal Crossing, and Mike will have to buy a Wii U.
I'm totally buying Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing looks pretty sweet.
Animal Crossing looks very good. Yeah, I'm very jealous of Drew over at Nintendo.
How long has it been since Animal Crossing came out?
Since the DS game?
The last one, the DS one, I guess.
I'm curious when
it's been a while.
Well, I guess Nintendo, the Treehouse started localizing New Leaf.
Or no, did the Wii one come out after the DS? I think the Wii one might have come out after the DS.
I don't know anymore.
I think it did.
I think you're right.
Because the Wii one was the first that had like sort of the world warping around instead of just the screen scrolling.
Which apparently in this one you have a shopping arcade.
Animal Crossing City Folk.
Nice.
City.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah, me too.
That comes out on June.
Wow, see.
I will be downloading that from the eShop.
Really? Going all digital up in that?
Yeah, I have decided to go all digital with Nintendo platforms. Unless it's a game that I think I might want to resell. Yeah. Go all digital.
Cool.
And I can download it at midnight. So that's awesome. All right, let's talk about Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Sounds pretty nice, actually.
And a demo in July, right?
That's
Oh, really?
cool.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
that's very cool. Yeah, they're going to start their GT Academy stuff with a GT6 demo in July.
GT Academy always makes me feel crappy because I realize just how not great I am at the game.
Those people are unbelievable.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty competent, but like at least to the point that if I were to sort of watch like a ghost of a better time, I could see where I'm losing time and think about maybe ways to get better. But man, yeah, I can't even come close to the times the people in those GT Academy competitions.
Yeah, those dudes are savants.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with my new lawn chair racing rig, I don't think I can keep it up this time.
Did you ever see the story about the guy? I think he was from Sweden or Norway or something. Who was
the
big
iRacing
on
guy?
the iRacing scene?
Yeah,
And they put him in an actual car, and he was good, but actually could not handle the physical rigors of racing. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like for all the people who say there's nothing, you don't have to be athletic. This guy is living proof that unless you're in pretty good shape, you cannot handle an actual race car.
I felt so good about that story for so many reasons, being someone who's defended motorsports for so many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy, I mean, it proved that the iRacing stuff is really good because he was putting up, he wasn't just pretty good, he was putting up competitive times in that car. But he could only go for a few laps, and then he was just like, I can't. He felt sick, and, it's just like, but yeah, that was Top Gear, I think. That was a segment on Top Gear.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
iRacing is awesome.
I'm excited that I'm actually kind of excited that it's a PS3 game. I don't know why. Just I guess because it will actually come out and
perhaps on time even.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're already announcing that they're doing a demo in July, it has to be pretty close to be done, right?
For as much as I'm complaining, I am happy that it's a PS3 game for exactly that reason, because I feel like if it was stopped and reworked to be a PS4 game, it wouldn't be like a year away. It would be multiple years away.
Absolutely. Plus, who knows if they're going to do something screwy with their controllers and your racing rig would become obsolete. You'd be really
upsetting.
Pissed about that.
That would be upsetting, yeah.
Well, I think Kazunori said that they may think about doing a PS4 version, right?
I think that's pretty much a given, yeah.
I think they have to.
The nice thing that I saw is one of the interviews that he gave after that launch event was that there's a chance that the save file will transfer to the aforementioned PS4 version, which I'll happily buy the game twice. If it delivers like it did with GT5, GT5 is easily the game that gave me the most bang for the buck this generation. I mean, I still play it like weekly.
And they've been really good about. I mean, it's no longer in the news or on blogs or anything like that. But man, they have continued to pump out content for that thing like a mother too.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the amount of events there's still new events every week. On that thing, no one talks about it. But yeah, so I mean, I'm glad it's coming out. I'll happily grab it right away, and I'll happily buy the PS4 version if and when it ever gets released. But the fact,
even if they just did like a prologue thing, okay, we're gonna take 2 tracks and 50 cars and do a little prologue thing or whatever. That would be cool.
And the fact that it's not a retread, it's actually it sounds like it's a completely new engine. The physics engine too, especially like just from that first trailer that they released. For anyone who's really into the game, you can really see that the suspension is acting a lot more realistically, just based on the way the cars are moving. So it's pretty exciting actually if you're hardcore into that stuff. It looks like it's going to be a really good game, and yeah, I am glad that there's finally a new one coming out, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And tessellation.
God, I love tessellation.
Man, that just got me hard.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It's a euphemism.
I'm limp here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It's a level of detail thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
You would understand.
All right, so, fine. Speaking of limp, I don't know. Let's talk about EA cutting off online passes and their Project $10 program.
First move towards subscription-based sports games.
I'm guessing that something will replace it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't celebrate too long if you were.
No. Yeah. Or, I mean, with the online passes, right, my theory on this, in part, is that so with the online pass, they would give away some DLC item, right, for free to the folks who bought it new when they registered their online pass. And my thought is that day one DLC sells pretty well, so why not have those items be paid anyway, right?
Yeah.
Probably makes them more money up front than an online pass transaction from some used buyer months down the line.
Probably.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So why not just
I like
do
the way
that?
your mind thinks when it comes to nefarious business practices, Johnston.
You should do
Yes.
iOS games.
Yeah.
Imagine that. The other thing that I wanted to, well, I guess we can go into games now. Let's talk about some games.
I've heard of them.
So I tried the Karaoke Channel on the Xbox 360 for the first
I
time.
did not know this was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
Karaoke Channel. So Innis, you know Innis, right? The folks that did Elite Beat Agents and Lips and other music type games. Developed this karaoke channel thing for the Xbox 360. So instead of doing like a Lips Online thing, you have the karaoke channel, and there are achievements on this thing, and you basically pay for a set amount of time that you want to use the service, and you have full access to the entire library of songs that they have.
Sounds like a virtual console.
And it's actually pretty awesome. I actually had some fun with it last weekend.
Were you standing there singing by yourself, CJ?
No, I was doing duets.
Did you have
with the wife.
friends over? Okay, well that's better.
And Charlotte was loving it. Charlotte was dancing around. Yeah, because they have children's songs in there as well in the library, like stuff that you wouldn't dare want to pay for if it was DLC for Lips, but because it's free on this service, yeah, I'll sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Sure.
You know you can sing that to your kid without paying for it, right?
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Is it available for the iPhone or something?
Yes.
No, but I thought it was interesting in that here's basically a game that has achievements and avatar awards, etc. But it's being run as a live service type of thing, which I think
cool.
This is we sort of had it with 1 versus 100 earlier on.
Game.
I really missed that game too. I thought that was a great idea. This, I think, the Karaoke Channel is probably closer to what we're going to get with the next generation Xbox and live service type games.
No, it's a good idea, something like that, especially where it's online. Like if you get into a situation where you want to do karaoke with a group of people, you just sign up real quick, and
I often find myself in that situation.
I know, right? How many times? It's
less than $5 for a couple of hours of karaoke, and you can use Smart Glass to browse the
Smart Glass
song list and queue things up. Like it's pretty slick, actually. I was pretty impressed by it.
It sounds cool. I'll never use it, but it sounds really cool.
That seems like a pricing model that is ripe for exploitation.
Yeah,
in a big bad way.
I imagine we will see some missteps and some people get it right in the next generation.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, even $5 for 2 hours, that's, like you said, you have a bunch of people over for a party and you want to do some karaoke, that makes sense. But if it's you at home, living your lonely life and you want to sing a little bit of Bonnie Tyler to yourself, 2 hours worth of wallowing in self-pity for $5 seems a little extravagant.
But the one thing that does do, which I like, is that it sidesteps the whole idea of the fact that you're buying something digitally.
Yeah.
You never really buy it. You're always renting it.
You're pumping quarters into an arcade machine.
Yeah. Right, where, something like that, at least you never feel like you're buying anything. You're buying time and access, and that's really it.
Yeah.
So, it seems like a more
music game
charge.
For a music game like this, I think that makes a lot of sense. Right?
So we had a company party this week. It was Employee Appreciation Week, and part of that was there was a big tent with a meal for everybody and karaoke.
Ooh, nice. Okay, yeah.
And our CEO was there, and she is sort of this sextagenarian, matronly, sweet older woman who was there to support everyone and was clapping along to everyone who sang karaoke. And this rather sizable woman got up to belt out some tunes, and she picked a song I had not heard before and have since come to really enjoy. It is called Redneck Woman. I don't know if you've ever heard of this song.
I have never heard of that song.
So in the process of doing this
It
sweet,
sounds amazing now.
supportive CEO is clapping along, and there is a line in the song where she says something along the lines of, I don't need Victoria's Secret. I can buy something just as good on the Walmart shelf and look just as sexy, and on about how she looks hot in Walmart lingerie. And at that point, the CEO, who is sitting there clapping along, kind of stops clapping and slowly puts her hands down.
Because she doesn't like Walmart lingerie, obviously.
No. That stuff will give you a rash on
Hives.
genitals. Yeah.
Genital hives.
Genitals.
So all I'm saying is karaoke can go horribly wrong.
It sure can.
That's
Especially if
the
people have
reason
been
it's great.
drinking and,
Yeah.
yeah. Who knows where it goes from there. All right.
So what did you sing? I want to know which Huey Lewis and the News song you decided to sing in your 2 hours of time.
I cannot reveal which track list I sang. It
This
may have
is-
involved some Taylor Swift,
Good
God.
Lord.
some Maroon 5. I had to pick songs that my wife wanted to sing.
When you did
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Taylor
yeah,
Swift,
yeah.
did you do the Screaming Goat version of Taylor Swift?
Of course.
Good. Okay.
Of course I did.
That legitimizes it somewhat in my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. All right, so let's move on down the list. Let's talk about Resident Evil Revelations, the demo.
Yeah. Neither of you guys tried this on the console? I guess...
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I played it on the Wii U.
Oh, neat. So there's extra stuff on there, right? With the gamepad?
Extra stuff, if by extra stuff you mean
A map.
a map that's always up, and a scanning thing, which I don't know how they treat this on the 360. I imagine it's just a controller thing, right?
I don't know how they do it on the 360 either, because I don't have a 360.
All right.
Wah,
I'm
wah.
sorry.
Suck on that.
I meant home consoles or PC in general.
Yeah. It is. It's treated just like a weapon. You basically use your R2 or L2 or something like that to call it up, and then use the R1 button to target
Scan.
things and scan them. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically just like drawing a gun. But
Okay.
I
On
don't
the
think
Wii U, you take out the gamepad and you point it at the TV and you
I
shake it up
hate
and
that.
down.
that's kind of neat. The first time
I
you
mean,
do it.
similar-
Exactly, yes, thank you.
It's similar to Lego City when you have to
The
take
problem
a
with
picture
it
or
is, I
scan
mean,
something.
that's neat the first time you do it. The problem is in that game there are about 43 things in every room that you have to scan. Every single item that you pick up, weapons, ammo,
Yeah.
herbs, all
Yeah.
of it.
Herbs.
Herbs.
Well,
sorry.
this was a 3DS game originally, right?
That's right.
3DS game.
And I didn't really dig it so much on the 3DS, but I found myself really enjoying the console demo. I thought that
Really?
it
You didn't think it was
fixes-
short as all?
Oh, it was
hell?
very short, but that is not part of my qualitative assessment.
Okay.
The length of the demo, but I think it fixes a lot of things. I don't know. It's like it sits in a cool little middle ground between what Resident Evil has become and what they used to be. So there are things like moving and shooting that are very nice, but it still is relatively slow paced and has a spooky atmosphere and feels kind of like the old Resident Evil games to me. I'm interested enough that I will potentially pick this up now. I thought it looked pretty good on the console. I'm interested to see what it's going to look like on the PC.
Better.
I could definitely pick it up there. Yeah. I don't know. Seemed pretty neat to me. You were not as big of a fan?
No, not really. And I guess part of it is just the Resident Evil games in general just don't interest me all that much anymore.
Well, this feels more like 1, 2, 3 than 4, 5, 6, I think, and and 4 feels sort of like the outlier of all of them. But the way 5 and 6 were going, I was not really big on them. But the fact that this one feels more like the Resident Evil games I loved when they came out makes it appeal to me a little bit more.
I suppose. And I guess because I suck at games in general, I don't like the aiming
Well,
in this game.
the reason is
I
because
don't
the aiming
consider.
is shit.
Oh yeah, the aiming is shit. I don't consider Resident Evil to be like a first-person shooter type game. Like I want to run around, draw my gun and in the general direction of the zombie and load them with bullets.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get a headshot on a zombie that is moving in many directions around the screen.
Right.
Yeah,
And the problem is
like a inflatable tube man.
I don't know what the fucking inflatable tube man is.
Inflatable tube man?
That's a new...
That's the one.
I don't know what the hell that
arm waving
is.
inflatable tube man?
Wacky waving arm flailing inflatable tube man.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean you don't know? I don't understand. What?
I don't
They don't
know.
have those in Utah?
I don't know.
I'm
I
probably
don't know.
against.
I don't know. The only thing we inflate here are condoms. The thing that I don't like, I need to maybe tweak with the settings a little bit more, but it's one of those games where it kind of gradually accelerates when you're aiming. Like if you're moving the stick in a direction, it starts off kind of slow, and then all of a sudden it yanks you 25 feet past what you're aiming at, and so it makes it a real pain in the ass to try to line up a shot. But if there's a way to tweak that, then that would be good. I'd be all right with it.
Yeah.
But I'm interested.
One of the other things I love that this demo did is, all right, so it gives you, it gives you the basic setup, and then it throws up a static image. It's like game operations manual with 8 pages of things to scroll through instead of like putting the controls on the screen as you're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, what a fucking like lame-ass
that was not
last
optimal.
gen feature.
Yeah. Well, like I said, old school Resident Evil, right?
Old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Greg, you want to talk about some of these games that you've been playing?
I don't know. What have I been playing? What's on the list?
Far Cry 3 and Sly Cooper Thieves and Tough.
I've barely touched Far Cry 3 this week.
Which I really want to get back to Sly Cooper. Now that I'm
Sly
done.
Cooper's awesome. I've been playing a lot of
with
Sly
couple
Cooper
games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now I'm done with Lego City. I finished Bioshock Infinite, which we'll talk
I
about.
thought we were talking about me. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I want to get back to Sly Cooper, so tell me where you are in that game.
I'm in the second world, the Western.
Oh, okay.
What the heck is the name of his ancestor there?
Quick Draw McSly and
Yeah,
Pants?
something like that.
Ricochet Rabbit.
Hey, that's not bad.
Neither of you guys
something
are
like
old
that.
enough to remember Ricochet Rabbit.
No.
No.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I've been playing it almost exclusively on the Vita.
Yeah.
And it's so good. They
a great
they
Vita
did a
game.
really great job on that because that's like pretty much exactly what I hoped a Sly Cooper game would be on this generation of hardware.
Totally.
They got
And the fact that it's in your fucking hands, holy cow.
yes,
Amazing.
They got like the store. The store is really great. The animation's great. The characters are really well written and really well acted, and the gameplay is just Sly, so it's good. They got it. They got it all right. I mean, that game is great.
They did. Yeah.
On the subject of sweet ass character action platformers on the Vita, that downloadable Ratchet and Clank game that they did that never made its way to the Vita will finally be on the Vita this week.
Really?
Yeah, the full frontal assault
Yep.
game.
So that's cool too.
Finally on the Vita on Tuesday.
Nito Mosquito.
Since I have a production copy of the PS3 game, I get it for free.
That's nice.
Well, la-di-da.
La-di-da. Bought it on clearance at Target. So.
I need to get back to Sly as well. I have not yet finished that and really want to. It's a good game.
The only thing I'm not really doing is getting all the collectibles, so I feel like I need to. I'm gonna have to go back and find all that stuff for sure.
All right. How about we take a break?
Really? Wow, this is a long episode.
We're gonna take a break.
Should we just
That's
push
right.
through
We'll
and
come
finish it, or what?
Well, we'll come back and do some more stuff.
All right, just asking.
I love stuff.
Daddy's got pee.
All right.
So that's why we're taking a break. All right, I will be right back.
Don't take the camera with you.
I might.
That is the sound of me motorboating Seward's boobs. Do it all the time. He loves it. Until I hit nipple. And it's a little too sensitive for him. Sensitive nipples, curse of Canadians. see.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
We are never, ever, ever. So, with teenage daughters, do you listen to a lot of Taylor Swift?
They hate Taylor Swift.
Good girls.
But I will tell you this. In July... Actually, this is kind of a secret. Shh, don't tell my daughters. In July, I am taking them to the One Direction concert.
Nice.
Yep. My
I don't
youngest,
know who that is.
they're the big boy band right now.
Oh, okay.
That my 13-year-old is obsessed with, and her birthday is next month, and she has been very sad that they sold tickets last year and they've been sold out for ages, and so she thinks that there's no way possible she can go, and I got tickets.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Tickets to what?
I've got 2 tickets to Paradise. Pack your bags. We'll leave tonight.
You've been going to the Eddie Money Travel agency?
It's amazing what you
From
can
the
earn with
commercial?
a job on a street corner.
Mm.
No, what were we talking about?
One Direction.
Oh.
Yep.
CJ sang them too.
No, I
Did
didn't.
you really?
No. No. Uh-uh.
You might have.
Backstreet Boys.
No.
What about Blackstreet? No Diggity.
No Diggity.
Everybody
Nope.
loves No Diggity.
Oh man. This is awkward.
It is. Should we come back from break even though you're eating?
What are you
No.
eating? What do you got there?
A granola bar.
Granola.
Mm,
At
that's
perhaps
kind of a
Ferguson's.
letdown.
Wow, what did you want it to be?
Human flesh.
Not on camera.
It's a granola bar that is human flesh flavored.
Ooh.
It's a new flavor of Cliff Bar.
That's a whole
Chocolate
different
chip
kind of
human.
hippie.
It's the 127 hours bar.
Yikes.
I have to say, I
Tastes
miss,
like ARM.
I miss
gotta have-
actual granola bars.
I gotta have one last wank before I die. That's the 127 hours.
Yikes. And we're back. In case you forgot, you're listening to the Player One podcast. Your number
But why would you?
4 podcast for successful Kickstarterings. All right.
I don't know why we presume that our listeners have early onset Alzheimer's all the time.
You never know. It could be
Seems
like that guy in Memento. They need to be reminded.
Hmm.
There you go.
Could be.
So, Phil's not here, but I finished Bioshock Infinite, and so did he. I was looking
Sweet.
forward to talking a little bit
That took
about
long
it.
enough.
There was so much anger at the end of that. You were so pissed when you finished that game.
That took an infinite amount of time to finish that game.
Yeah.
Game of the year?
What?
Game of the year?
No, not Game of the Year. That game, I really like the story, and I like some of the setups and set pieces that they have, but I absolutely hated every minute of the combat in the game, especially up to the ending and the final battle on the blimp. Or dirigible, or whatever you're doing.
Yep.
I just didn't like it at all. Like, I felt it was tedious. And looking back at some of the things I loved about the original Bioshock, you could strategically approach Big Daddy fights, right?
Absolutely.
You could lay traps for them. You could, tip them off and have them run through a gauntlet of traps. And you can't do that in this game because every room you go into, you trip like a silent alarm, basically, and enemies stream out of clown cars at you. And
I never saw the clown cars.
You didn't see the clown car?
Invisible clown
something?
cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're invisible. Yeah, they're like
Carry on.
doors in the environments that people will stream out of that you can't go in. And like the handymen immediately see you and start attacking you, and there's yeah, you can use parts of the environment with tears and whatnot to open different things, but I never felt like I was approaching any of those arenas in a particularly strategic way. Certainly stealth went out the window
Yeah.
after the first little thing, like, oh, you can knock a guy out by approaching him stealthily. That was the last stealth in that game for me. Like, it just wasn't any more of that afterwards. And in fact, there was a point right before the Comstock house, which half the fucking game is spent with the objective go to Comstock house, which also was kind of annoying to me after a while. It's like, stop telling me to go there. Like, I'm not actually going there, right? That's not actually my next stop, so why the fuck are you saying that constantly? But
it's good to have goals in life. It's a long-term goal.
Yeah. And so there was a point right before that where there were like some vending machines at the bottom of a staircase. So I took 2 steps towards the stairs, and the tense battle music started immediately. When there was no way any of the enemies in that area have seen me. So I take 2 steps backwards, and the tense battle music stops. It comes to a close, a rousing close, like, and the queue ends. I take 2 more steps forward, it starts again. It's just like this weird moment where it's I keep going back and forth, and the game is telling me that I'm about to be in a tense battle, but it just seemed farcical.
It's the most back and forth since Paula Abdul sang with MC Scat Cat.
That's right. And the whole ghost fight with Lady Comstock, or the whole ghost thing in general, just stupid.
Yeah.
Just kind of...
Wait, which time?
They felt... Well, both of them. Both times with Lady Comstock. I mean, it's just like... It just feels worthless. Like, I didn't feel enough of a... I don't know. A build-up or... they weren't even tense battles. It was just, once again, an arena fight with no real build-up.
That was, to be fair, that was a really annoying arena fight, like more so than an arena fight would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because of the ghost.
But again, like you look at the original Bioshock, right, where there are memorable boss battles. There's Sander Cohen, there's the Dr. Steinman stuff, there's like some really fun build-ups to those battles. And in this, I felt like there were really no build-ups to any of the battles, and all of the, boss battles or ending battles that there were just unexciting messes.
I will say, we covered this a little bit in the spoiler cast we did, although I don't know that I ever brought this up. One of the pacing just before you went into Comstock House actually was really terrible. Because, and I say that because the game was kind of built around you. We always have the joke like, here's the arrow to tell you where you go next, but what that arrow is really telling you is check everywhere else before you go this way.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you get into that area just before Comstock House, if you follow that personal rule...
Yes, you've searched all the areas that you then have to go back to later.
I had thoroughly searched every single room in that whole area before I ever got to Comstock House, only to find out that I had to go back through everything again. Yeah, I just thought that it was kind of a terrible breakdown based on sort of the way they had taught the player to play.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing was just the tedium of looking through every garbage can and dead body around for scraps of whatever, and I never felt like, in a lot of cases, the health that you would get from those scroungings made any lick of difference. Or it was like, here's an apple that's 0.008 of your life bar, and you eat it and you see it go up like a tiny sliver. It's just like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, why am I even bothering to search all this stuff? But
that moment when you're sifting through the garbage for food and you ask yourself, what the hell am I doing here?
But that doesn't stop me from continuing to do it, right? Because there's always that like possibility that you'll get like some amount of coins or money or whatever that you need to get the next upgrade, and you need that stuff later on. I felt like I couldn't not search for needles in haystacks because I'm going to need money for these upgrades.
I don't know. I think it was like 30 minutes before I stopped even paying attention to what was in those. I was just frantically hitting X.
Yeah, for the most part, I would do that. Except
Because it
in
doesn't
some
matter.
cases.
There's never a time when you don't want to pick something up, which is what makes
Well,
it all the
I mean,
more
there's
absurd.
some cases where like it's smokes or booze where it'll take some X amount off.
Yeah, but it
your-
doesn't matter.
But
There'll be
in general, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, if you just
general, it doesn't
tap
matter.
X forever, it all sort of balances out in the end, and it ends up being a positive thing. So just
And
mash
also,
X.
this is a game in 2013 where I have to put the reticle over every coin
Right.
and press a button separately to collect is just absolutely mind-blowing. Just not good design. And I listened to the spoiler cast and I agreed with a lot of the points bless you brought up on that. And I love the setting of the game. I like the story a lot, actually. But the gameplay is just so awful.
I just wish I could flash back to when we first talked about this after you guys had played for about an hour and I was a few hours into it, and you all wanted to turn me into Goatsy with
That's
a
right. That's right. But man, what a turn this game makes into the crapper.
Yeah.
And it's, I look at reviews of this game that are like, oh my god, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Like, how, like, did I play the same game that these people played? Like, I just don't.
I am interested to
just
see
don't
where it
get
winds
it.
up on Game of the Year list, because it may be I felt a little bit last year like reviewers specifically, got a little bit defensive about their effusive praise of Mass Effect 3 and felt like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I have to take this all the way and make sure that it's, number 3 on my top 5 of the year or number 2 or whatever to justify how much shit I was talking early on in the year about how amazing it was. And I think that's going to happen again with Bioshock Infinite.
It could.
Although I gotta
It very
say,
well could.
I don't share. I mean, CJ, you sound like you absolutely despise that. I don't really
No,
share
no.
that viewpoint.
No.
But
I'm not saying that I despise the game. I'm not sad that I
It's just a
completed it.
letdown.
It's just a major
It is
letdown.
disappointing
And-
based on what you were expecting. Sure.
Right, considering that the original Bioshock is one of my favorite games of this generation, just in general. And to have this be such a letdown in gameplay is, kind of inexcusable.
No excuses.
It's inexcusable.
That's right.
All right.
Anyway, there you go on that. All right, let's talk about some of the other games here. Thunderwolves.
Yeah.
What is this?
Sounds made up.
Thunderwolves. It is made up. This shit doesn't write itself. You, Greg Stewart, are going to be very happy about this game when it hits. I mean, you can play it on your PC right now if you want to pay $15 on Steam, but it, according to the trailer, is also coming to PSN and Xbox Live Arcade. It's $15.
Mm.
And it is what you would imagine a 2013, well, let's say 2010, a 2010 version of a new Desert Strike game would be like.
Really?
All right.
Yes. So helicopters, a range of different helicopters that you fly through a nondescript desert landscape, taking out bad guys, hoisting supplies with your winch up to your helicopter, rescuing hostages and whatnot. But it's updated the formula a little bit. You have more evasive maneuvers to get out of the way of anti-air fire. There are a lot more air-based enemies, so you get into kind of little dogfights with helicopters, which is pretty fun. And I just got to a level. I'm a half a dozen or so missions into it. The missions are all relatively long, where now I'm in a tank, and it plays kind of the same way, except you're in a tank. So it's pretty good. It's surprisingly good. And actually, it kind of reminds me of the kind of game that you would find tucked away in a corner of like a Dave and Buster's somewhere, and you would look at it and think, I have never heard of this game before in my life, and you start playing it, and it's pretty fun, but not amazing, but I think I'm assuming that you're a person who enjoyed the Strike series because
I did.
you are a Sega Genesis fan and a human being, and those games were awesome. And as such, I think you would really get a kick out of this. It actually, to me, does a better job of being a satire of kind of 80s action movies than a recent game that tried really hard to be a parody of 80s action movies. There's lots of kind of stereotypical banter between the pilots, and it's pretty hardcore.
But does Long Tall Sally play when you're...
Was that
No
a
Long
knock
Tall
against
Sally.
Blood Dragon? Blood Dragon
No.
is awesome.
No. It was not that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure when this is coming out on PSN or on XBLA, but you should definitely take a look at it when it comes out.
I
You should
will
watch
keep it
the
in
trailer.
mind.
It's pretty
Nice.
sweet. I've been having a really good time with it.
All right, so Ace Patrol, this is a Sid Meier game, right?
It is
For iPad?
Oh,
It
I
is.
heard about this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool too. It's kind of imagine a game sort of like Advance Wars, but all of the units are airborne. Other than you
Right.
have bases on the ground that have anti-air and things like that, but it's all kind of set on a hex grid, but each of your aircraft has different maneuvers that you can take. So as you level them up, you can buy different moves, like the ability to roll or to do loops or things like that. So you have evasive maneuvers too, but it is turn-based, and the whole thing is about trying to position yourself against the enemy aircraft so that you can take them down. And it is free, but it's like a limited number of campaigns, and when you're... Oh, look at you with your Ace Patrol.
But
Yeah,
it's an iPad game, right?
it is. So to buy additional campaigns is like $1, and they're, when your members of your squad get eliminated or need medical attention, you have to pay, and there are some slightly annoying little paywalls, but they're not too bad. I think it's worth $1 to buy another campaign because they are all pretty fun.
Cool.
They have it set up so that some of the missions are offensive, where you're just dogfighting or taking out targets. Some of the missions are defensive, where you're trying to protect a position with your planes. And you get different abilities and skills that you can assign to different pilots throughout the course of the game. So so far it's pretty good. I've only put a couple hours into it, but so far I really like it. I'm kind of a sucker for turn-based strategy games anyway, and this is a pretty good one.
Cool.
I like it.
Cool. I'll have to try it.
like
I will
that.
try it as soon as we're done the show.
Good for you.
Excellent. Shall we do some tweets?
Let us do some tweets.
All right. Do we want to talk about this Destructoid thing with the transgender developer? Nope. All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Avavi, who says, which arcade stick is your favorite one, and what do you look for in a good stick?
NES Advantage.
I knew you were gonna
Because
say
it's
that.
the last one I ever used.
Yeah. Oh, the Dreamcast or the Xbox arcade stick is pretty good.
Really?
I don't know if I
Pretty
know
good.
what that is. There's an
Neither do I.
Xbox arcade stick?
There was an Xbox 360 arcade stick, yeah.
Huh. I did not know that.
I think I don't know who
Let's say
made that.
Hori made it.
Let's
Just
say
for-
Hori
Why
made
not?
it, though.
Yeah. I play a lot of fighting games, but I do not have a fighting stick. I instead got the Mad Catz fight pad, which is pretty nice. It is the controller most reminiscent of a Saturn 6-button controller that I have ever used. It's still not as good as that controller, but
You
it's,
have do you have a Street Fighter?
Could be, really.
You have a Street Fighter themed version of that one, or
I do. It is a
Yeah,
Street
I
Fighter
do too.
themed version of the Mad Catz arcade pad, and it's nice. It works really well for fighting games. The D-pad is really responsive and feels good, and the buttons are nice and laid out in the traditional Street Fighter fashion, so it works pretty well.
The way God intended.
The way
Yeah.
the Lord God intended. So that's my vote, even though it's not a stick.
Nice.
Yep.
All
I heard
right.
the NES Advantage is really nice, though.
It's got slow motion.
I still have mine.
I still have mine too, somewhere. All right, Hacker Alias Bador SNK. is talking about the "Why Can't Metroid Crawl" Miiverse post, and
What?
does this justify Nintendo's exorbitant use of tutorials? So if you've not heard about this,
I have
and
not.
if you don't have a Wii U, you probably
I do
haven't. So Super Metroid came out on the Virtual Console this past week for 30 cents. And
It's one of my favorite games of all time.
so there's a Miiverse community for Super Metroid, and there were many, many posts towards the end of the game with a screenshot where you have to turn into the Morph Ball, but you... I don't know if it's that they hadn't collected that power-up yet or weren't sure how to use it, but so they couldn't get out of this one area because you have to use the Morph Ball and you have to press down on your controller to activate it.
Nice.
So
is there more to
you
this?
couldn't crawl?
What? Yeah, they were asking why you can't crawl. Yes. To get through that tiny area. Yeah.
This is bizarre.
This is a story about someone being very stupid.
Very stupid, exactly. And does this justify Nintendo's exorbitant use of tutorials?
Or is this why Nintendo is doomed?
I think you could look at it like this. If I could post immediately onto a message board from the game where
I'd
I
say
was
lots of
stuck
stupid things.
instead of figuring it out myself, I would probably have posted a lot of stupid things. And if this was available back in the day when Super Metroid came out, I may have made the same post. Like, I can't really see this as a, oh my god, new generation of gamers doesn't know what to do. Like, I can't really quite see it like that, just because we have such quick access to getting help in something that may seem obvious.
That's absolutely true, because I've actually done the same thing a few times in the last few years where it's like I try something and fail 2 or 3 times and it's immediately off to Twitter.
Exactly.
To see if somebody can help me when if it was like the early 90s, like, well, I got to keep trying until I figure it out and just sort of
The
bang
other
my head
thing
against that wall.
that contradicts that is, new generation of gamers doesn't know how to play games or whatever. Games now are so much more ridiculously complex than those games that is one of the dumber arguments you could make.
Yeah, true.
That's true too. That is true too. All right, so hacker alias Campion10
Love
asks,
that guy.
do you think Nintendo will ever start offering GameCube games for download? Why does it seem they were so unprepared for Wii U titles?
Is that,
I don't know.
Is that 2 different questions?
Yeah.
We'll say yes.
They may start offering GameCube games. I don't know. I guess
I don't see why not.
How it would work with the gamepad controller. I mean, I think they certainly could.
If they were to do that, I would be able to get excited about a Mario Kart game, unlike a new one being announced.
Oh, you like
Big Double Dash fan?
I'm a huge Double Dash fan. I had a lot of fun playing Double Dash with my kids. That's probably the most fun I've had with a Mario Kart game since the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
It is one of the major bummers of the Wii U is that it doesn't do GameCube games.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, still miss that.
Yeah. All right, what do you say we wrap up? Because I hear the pitter-patter of little feet.
Yep.
So let's do this one real quick from hacker alias Chad Viz, who asks, which console are you most excited to own, PS4 or the next box?
Get back to you on
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday night, yeah.
Well, maybe when we find out about the games that are on the next Xbox.
Yeah, maybe it'll
as
have
well.
to be after E3.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me right now, I'd say the PS4 probably, because I can't really imagine what game on the Xbox I'm going to really want. But then again, if they introduce new IP, etc., like it's really anybody's game.
Mr. Greenberg said lots of new exclusives to get excited about.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll see.
Announce your new console and don't show any games? That's one way of doing it.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I guess join us on Tuesday for the next podcast, and maybe we'll ask this question again.
It's a good idea.
What do you think about that?
It's a great
Okay.
idea.
That way Mike won't have to answer it.
I got grown-up things to do. God
That's
damn
right.
it.
All right, that's our show for this week, although we're doing another show on Tuesday, so that'll be on the feed as well.
So you just lied.
So I just lied to you. But it was a friendly lie. So one of them lighthearted lies.
I love those.
Yeah. So if you want to comment on this episode, you can do so by going to player1podcast.com/342 and dropping a comment right there, or you can tweet it to us at P1Podcast. There you go. Our internet website, player1podcast.com, has blog entries and occasionally some about Sega CD games from Mr. Seward right there.
That's me.
A fine one on the Crisscross Make Your Own music video.
Yep. Complete downer at the end, obviously.
Yes. And there's a message board on that website where you can discuss this episode and other topics with us and our other listeners. I'm sure we're going to be doing something on the Xbox unveiling.
Hell yeah.
There.
Yep.
I guess I'm going to do Phil's part in this.
Sure, if you want.
Maybe. What the hell does he say?
That way
If you would like to
might not-
subscribe to the Player One podcast, you can go
Yeah.
to iTunes, you can go to wherever else you buy podcasts. Everybody already knows how to do that, so they
Stitcher.
don't need to be told.
Go to our
And
Facebook page.
There's an app for the iOS, there's an app for the Android, and that's really all you need to know.
That's right. Yeah.
Done.
And on Twitter, I am at SuperPack.
I am
Right.
at Seward.
And Mike.
Mormon Rage.
All right. And Phil is at Whimsical Phil, although he is not
If
here.
you want a daily joke about May the 4th be with you,
Go to that.
follow Whimsical Phil.
And who
Go to
does
that
not?
page. Who doesn't? Yeah. And we will do this thing again on Tuesday and next week as well.
Yay!
About that.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay.
Later, everybody.
Peace.
Love you!
Bye.